gentlemen, my name is
Howard J. Dingers. And this is 3 Count Review.
welcome to Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw edition.
What was the production value on that? Jeez.
That was me doing about 30 minutes worth of work, just throwing clips together. So, thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you. I do have to go tweak a couple things, but other than that, welcome everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Howard J. Dingers, and welcome to 3 Count Review presented by First Round KO, the Monday Night Raw review. Today in studio, joining me, I just realized how super loud I am. Joining me in studio, we have Tyler, and hi Tyler, and we have Cal.
Hello.
So before we get to the actual Raw review, I have to ask you guys, did you guys get to watch Super Showdown?
Yes, I woke up at 8 in the morning to watch it. I did not watch it live. I woke up at 8 in the morning to watch it before because I had to call football that day.
That's fair.
So I did not want to wait much longer, so I just said, screw it, I'll watch it then.
Nice.
And it was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right.
I did not. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's only really few pay-per-views that I would get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch, and I'm sorry, Australia, but Super Showdown is not one of them, so no, I did not watch it.
So technically, I didn't get up for the show.
I didn't either.
I stayed up for the show. So obviously Friday, WWE 2K came out on Friday. The early access was Friday, so I got it on Friday. So I found myself at about 2 a.m. still playing WWE 2K. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Super Showdown's in a couple hours. Let's just keep playing 2K until Showdown starts. So I ended up going to bed 7 o'clock Saturday morning, which that wasn't even the end of the show.
No.
I went to bed immediately after the 6-man tag, the Shield versus the Dogs of War. So I missed Daniel, Miz, and Undertaker Triple H, but I just watched it later Saturday night. But yeah, that was not the best decision on my part. But other than that, I thought the show was fun. Like, I figured, like, it was a house show. Like, I knew, Iconics were probably going to take one. I knew Buddy Murphy was going to win. Yeah, it was a lot of face winning. There wasn't any heel turns like we thought. They came, as we're going to see, they came on Monday night. Yeah, it was a glorified house show like everyone thought. But much like their Greatest Royal Rumble, I really enjoyed this show. Like, it's fun. It was just a fun show to watch if you're a fan of wrestling. So, yeah. All right, let's get into the Monday night review. Did you guys get to watch Raw?
Yes, I did. I did not watch it live. I watched it on my phone
Okay.
last night. And earlier today, finished it up. I will say I thought this was one of the best Raws I've seen in a long time.
Okay. I hear that. I've been hearing that opinion.
I'm going to say this was one of the better Raws I've seen in a while.
I'm just gonna say I don't agree, but I've heard that opinion from like everyone. Yes.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch all of it, but a lot of it I did watch. So I was thoroughly impressed with, and I agree with Tyler. This is one of the better Raws that I've seen in a while.
I will clarify. I can agree that it's one of the better episodes of Raw, but that's because I have a very low opinion of Monday Night Raw. Like it's usually not great.
Oh yeah, I forgot you don't like Raw. You don't watch it that much.
I only watch it now live so that I can do this, but yeah, I don't know. We'll dive in because I do have some problems. So, show opens up. I actually really enjoyed this opening segment. So the show opens with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Triple H basically just cut a big promo about respect, dropping subtle hints, kind of taking shots at Shawn Michaels. I really enjoyed that because the story that he was telling was that respect is earned when you stick to your word, even though people pressure you to go against your word. And I really like that because Shawn's going against his retirement word. So I like that a lot. And then they basically, Triple H just said, or Shawn, I think, said it, was like, coming off the plane from Australia to Chicago, we had one question. We had one question for the Brothers of Destruction. And then Triple H, reading his mind, looked at Shawn and said, "Are you ready?" Obviously. And it was confirmed later in that night that we are, in fact, getting the Brothers of Destruction versus D-Generation X at WWE Crown Jewel. What do you guys think of that?
I absolutely love it. It's absolutely great to see these two legendary tag teams back together, two of the all-time great tag teams back together. All four are icons in this industry. All four have paved the way for superstars right now. I'm looking forward to it. It's just good to see them back. I think that's one of the reasons why this episode was like one of the better ones, because there's a lot of big names going on right now, because we're heading towards Evolution later this month. And then we have Crown Jewel in November.
Is that a problem, though?
No.
It's not a problem?
No.
That one of the best shows of the year is good because of all the nostalgia acts and all the returning. Like, they can't have these good shows with the current roster. They have to bring back DX, the Brothers of Destruction, Trish, Lita, as we saw. Who
Not as good. Would not be as good, because the current stars right now are not as big of names. And those bigger names bring them money and more attention.
Well, exactly.
And that's exactly what.
And Bella's obviously too.
And that's exactly what Vince McMahon wants. It's just it's how business works, and I think it's very good.
That's true. I'll give you that one. Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to see the D-Generation X back, and what I'm excited about is that it's Michaels, where he's not coming back in like a one-on-one setting. Because like, what worries me is I know it's Shawn Michaels, but like, for so many years we saw how good The Undertaker was, like how he literally defied he defined Father Time for so long, and then like when he fell off the cliff, you noticeably could tell that he fell off the cliff.
But now after that hip surgery, he's looked really good, I think. Yeah.
And like that's just worries me with Shawn, is that these guys aren't gonna ever forget in-ring psychology, but like how many
Shawn definitely hasn't forgotten in-ring psychology.
It's just how many like bumps. I mean, not bumps, but like how good is he gonna be able to move? That's why like I'm afraid like if he goes in it in like a one-on-one match and just stinks it up, like that's like the one match like we remember, like he'll kind of get like hidden and like all those, and it'll just kind of be like a spot fest, kind of like what it was for their matchup in Australia, but. I just like how he's going to be hidden, and it's, one last time D-Generation X versus Brothers of Destruction. And I think you do bring up a good point, but like if they wanted to, they could have had the main event be either Miz and Bryan, Styles versus Joe.
That's
Hounds
true.
Hounds of Justice versus the Dogs of War. Like they just put it out there just because it was Australia, probably not the strongest WWE market. But I mean, like that is kind of a problem they face, but. After a while, like I feel like they can build up some of those names if they really need to.
Now, some of the rumors going out there is that Shawn Michaels is going to have a singles match, at least one, whether it's at Survivor Series, whether they build to one, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. The rumors are Undertaker.
Yep.
They sowed some seeds for a Triple H match. They've never had a one-on-one WrestleMania match. So that could happen. I personally don't want to see those for a lot of the reasons that you brought up. He could be very rusty, and he might not be able to move like he used to. I want to see him wrestle someone who can carry a match. Right. I want to see him wrestle AJ Styles. I want to see him wrestle Adam Cole. Someone Daniel Bryan for sure. That match needs to happen. So I'm not. If they do an Undertaker match specifically, that one I'm not going to look forward to because we've seen it a lot. Triple H I wouldn't mind. It would have to be a shorter match, like a spot fest almost. And a lot of near falls and that kind of thing. I don't know.
If Shawn Michaels and Triple H had a match, Triple H could carry it more.
Yes.
Because Triple H is,
more than Undertaker could.
Yes, more than Undertaker, because Triple H is more of a technical, methodical guy.
And
Undertaker is not really a technical guy. He's not really.
No.
He doesn't have a lot of submission holds like Triple H does.
And that's why the Triple H Shawn Michaels match could potentially be very good because Shawn, as we saw with his selling over in Australia, he still knows how to sell. He's still very good at it. And I think Triple H could work a pretty good match with him.
And that goes back to the psychology, too. They're never going to forget
And
that.
it also goes back to the fact that he's the last stage of training before NXT guys go from NXT to Raw. Like, they take a couple classes with Shawn, and then they get moved up.
Yeah.
So he teaches them how to do this. So obviously, he hasn't forgotten.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I'm very excited for Crown Jewel, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And just if these guys ever got back in a singles match, we know it's not going to be as good as it was 10 years ago.
Exactly.
These guys are way past their prime, but it's just...
And there's the other thing. I started watching wrestling. The first thing I ever watched, WrestleMania 28. And that was the end of an era... Triple
Really?
H Undertaker, yeah.
That was the first time you ever watched it?
That was the first time I ever watched WWE.
Really?
The first match I've ever seen was Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the world title.
Oh, what a match. 18
seconds.
18 seconds. I'll never forget that number.
But so I never saw Shawn. I've never seen Shawn wrestle. Like
Really?
I've gone back and watched network specials and stuff.
Oh, man.
But I've never seen a Shawn Michaels match, really. So I that's why I'm excited for the return, because I never got to see him.
Oh, I saw that Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match 10 years ago. It was legendary.
That one gets me, and I wasn't even a fan.
That was legendary.
Fourth grade, my favorite wrestler, the first wrestler like that I thoroughly remember was Ric Flair. So like, which is kind of funny because now I'm like, oh wow, like Ric Flair. Like
Right.
at first I just liked him because he wooed and wore cool robes. And I mean the chest chop was amazing. I loved
Right.
watching those knife chops. But I mean, just that is one thing that you can expect though, is like probably just like they'll still have good in-ring psychology,
Yeah.
which I think can make a match.
Especially at WrestleMania, because there will be other matches that'll be, they'll have a mixture of matches. The first match that we had on Monday Night Raw, this is where I start to have problems. I will start this off by saying I enjoy this and I like where it's headed. I don't like how sudden it was. So the match was Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens. Leo Rush was in Bobby's corner, obviously. He came out in his suit, but he wasn't wearing a shirt under the suit jacket. Great. Love Leo. And he had a microphone during the match. And he was talking during the match, like egging on. He was egging on Kevin while helping Bobby. And at one point in the match, the fans started cheering Kevin because they were in Chicago. And then that's where Leo started going, oh, no, don't cheer this guy. Cheer Bobby. And he started getting the chant going, but the crowd was booing Leo. So then that's where it started to turn. Bobby all of a sudden started working the match heel. Kevin was hitting big moves. He hit a stunner at one point. He was hitting big moves to get pops out of the crowd. And Bobby basically ended up winning because Leo caused a distraction outside of the ring. Bobby hit the Dominator for the win. And then as they were leaving, Bobby then turned around and came back for a heel-style beatdown. He targeted the knee and everything, and then left. This was a double turn. But it
wasn't a double turn.
You don't think it was a double turn?
No.
You don't think Kevin's babyface?
No.
I mean, honestly, I don't care at this point. But still, Bobby's a heel.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
is this only because they were in Chicago? I don't think so, and we'll get to that in a second on why. But like, do you think they did this because they knew they were in Chicago, or are they actually turning Bobby heel with Leo now?
And that's interesting because you mentioned that this kind of came out of nowhere. Right?
Yeah.
They were in Australia 2 days ago.
Apparently, over the last 2 weeks, Bobby has been tweeting something like a change needs to happen or something like
that. Yeah, I
that.
heard about that, but
But nothing on
that's
TV.
Right, and that's interesting too because literally 2 days before that, he was teaming with the number one face of all time,
Exactly.
John Cena. But
Maybe
yeah,
that's why they haven't done it until now.
Yeah, probably. I
guess.
don't think Chicago had a factor with it. Chicago was going to boom anyway because,
True.
It's Chicago.
It's Chicago.
But
Bizarro world, as
Bobby
WWE likes to call it.
Bobby Lashley needed one of these.
Yes.
Yeah, he cannot make it alone as a good guy. He just does not. He has the physique, he has the body for it. He doesn't have the personality for it. And now he's got a trash talking, annoying little guy being his little B word, if you will.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But this gives Bobby Lashley now like some actual hate from fans.
Absolutely.
And this I think is going to work out for him.
Now, I do like it. Like, I'm very excited for a Bobby heel run. Like, it's gonna, especially with Leo Rush. Leo Rush is amazing. The only problem I have is that it came out of nowhere. They have, I think, at least 4 weeks now until Crown Jewel. Yeah. They could have hinted at something this week. and then did it next week, or a 2-week hint and then a heel turn or something. Because I doubt he's gonna even have he's not gonna have a high profile match at Crown Jewel or anything. At this point, honestly, it seems like he's turning heel. Yes, because he needed it, but in hindsight, they're turning him heel so that he can feud with Roman. If you really think about it. But anyway, Cal, what was your thought?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I just like how sudden the heel turn was. I kind of like how sudden heel turns, like when you don't expect it. And I mean, he clearly needed one. We talked about there is a rumor going around that Owens is injured, so like this could be like taking him off TV for a while.
Okay. They did post something that like he's injured after that attack from Bobby. They posted it on WWE.com.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be a good pairing just because I mean even like when Leo first had like the microphone and he was talking, I was like just kind of thinking obviously before the heel turn, like, you know, geez, I wonder what these guys could be like as heels. Like Leo's kind of being annoying now. Like just flip him. And I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Leo's a heel on 205.
Yes.
And I mean, like,
so I do like that.
Really annoying. I mean, he's got like an annoying voice too. So I mean, I say that this is gonna be great, and I'm excited to see where they go from it.
I guess my biggest problem with this too is that Kevin Owens is a heel, kind of. Technically, he's like a tweener, but they book him as a heel. It's weird. So having a heel turn on another heel doesn't exactly work. Yeah. That's my only problem. Like if it would have been, God, they have so many other people that could have done that. They could have done.
I think this is going to lead to an Owens heel turn though when he comes back. And I just read it that Kevin Owens is having minor knee surgery, so he's going to be back legitimately.
Oh,
legit. So he'll be back in a couple months' time.
Interesting. Oh, that sucks.
Well, it worked out good too.
Hopefully, Rumble.
When you want a heel turn, like you want the crowd to boo him, obviously.
Right.
And Owens is
That's
really
true.
popular in.
That's true.
Not in Chicago.
Maybe that was actually good booking by WWE.
And I mean, he got booed afterwards too.
Right.
So it worked out good.
The next match, we had a rematch of Super Showdown because why not? It was a house show. Let's show the actual audience. Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins defeating the Riot Squad once again. Now, here, again, more problems. We'll talk about what happened post-match, but first, the actual match I just want to touch on. I was really happy with the way they ended the Super Showdown match because it protected Ruby as a possible future opponent for Ronda because it was a double tap out by Liv and Sarah Logan. So I was happy about that. But then on Raw, Ronda just made Ruby tap out. So now that all out the window. So I don't like that. Brie had another botch at the end of this match. The Liv and Sarah tried to jump in the ring to break up the submission. And Nikki caught Nikki caught Liv, I think. Yes. And Brie did not catch Sarah. So Sarah just kind of fell on her face.
I saw Sarah do it purposely. I'm like, oh, my God.
I didn't see it at first, and then I saw people pointing it out, so I went back and watched it. Yeah,
that was bad.
God, Brie, I'm glad, and we'll get to it, but I'm glad that Ronda is facing Nikki and not Brie. Right. Like, I knew that was going to happen.
Nikki Bella is also the bigger name.
Oh, she's a bigger name, and she's the better wrestler.
Yes.
At like 100% better wrestler out of them. So after the match, again, they're doing the same spot. Ronda's celebrating. Nikki and Brie are celebrating. And I like that they actually do pay attention to little details. Every time that Nikki has celebrated with Ronda, she's standing on the same side as the title, and she's like actually reaching for the title and the hand. I don't know if that's on purpose, but it feels like it is because it's every time they celebrate together. So that was really nice. And then eventually Ronda turned her back on Nikki. Nikki threw her into Brie, basically, elbow to the head. And then this was a decent beatdown. Like, the Bellas beat down Ronda. But it was bad on the Bellas' end, but Ronda made it look good. Like, it was if you actually look at it, it was terrible, like, punches, terrible kicks, terrible throws by the Bellas. But Ronda's selling is so good that this beatdown actually looked good. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm excited for the one-on-one match, but I don't know. How did you feel about that?
Again, another sudden heel turn. And
which we all saw coming. It was sudden, but
we kind of seen it coming because we all knew that Ronda was going to face off with Nikki at Evolution. So, but yeah, I'm a big fan of sudden heel turns. It takes me off guard, takes me by surprise.
That's true.
It's really fun to watch.
That's
and,
why Lashley's just felt almost methodical over a match.
right.
Like that's why if it would have been like
And that's
a
different.
low blow or something,
Right.
then maybe I would have been more into it. But yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree with the sudden stuff.
And Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella for the title is honestly the right move. There's really no one else on the roster right now that can challenge Rousey legitimately.
Right.
Nikki Bella is the biggest. Is like
It's
literally
the two biggest names in the company.
biggest name left.
It
Yeah,
really
biggest.
is. Like and then because then on SmackDown you can have Charlotte Becky,
Yeah.
two of the better wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's a good
And
mix.
Charlotte Becky are the other two most popular.
Well,
in the
that
women's
too.
division
Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
So, yeah. It's just.
I'd
it's
argue
just,
Sasha's up there, but
Yeah, and I think she's hurt.
she is. You're right.
I think she is hurt for a
Yep,
little bit.
you're right.
But yeah, it's pretty obvious, but you couldn't go a better route with this.
I think it's really good booking standpoint too. I don't know if WWE will go with it, but one thing, Nikki Bella is the longest reigning women's champion.
Which Ronda will probably pass at some point.
I would be more than happy with that too, but like I mean, you could build it up that Nikki was around like when WWE was just hiring models to be
Absolutely.
wrestlers, and like Ronda could be like, I'm an actual women's wrestler, and like fight Nikki about it, like along with that as like not only about like the title, but like as like adding depth to the storyline.
Yeah.
And I mean, just there's just a lot you could go with, and I like Brie will obviously be in Nikki's corner too, so they have to worry about outside interference, and I think it's just gonna
Which
be a
works
story.
good. I really they are very good at the Twin Magic stuff, but just they're very good heels anyway.
I think it'll be a good match.
Me too. I'm actually very excited for Evolution. Mixed match challenge rematch next as Finn Balor and Bayley, actually known as B&B, which I believe is stolen from Bad News Barrett, but they don't mention him anymore anyway.
Team Bed and Breakfast.
Yes. Defeated Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox, better known as the Mahalisha.
Stop it. Just.
That's their actual
How do they think of these
I don't
names?
know,
Are awful.
but they're terrible.
Whoever's thinking
That
of
one
these
I
names.
kind of love a little bit, but anyway, this feud has been nothing. Balor won, Bayley won, and now they've won as a team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this is really doing. I'm glad that Bayley and Balor are getting wins,
Yeah.
but it's not really doing anything for me.
What this is really doing is just burying Jinder Mahal more.
True.
His
He was champion a year ago.
Yeah. He was the top dog. He was the top dog on SmackDown for like 6 months.
You can tell that they were like, well, that was a bad idea.
They literally pushed him for business reasons. It didn't work out, and now
And then he didn't even hold the title. Well, I guess for the India tour he
and
did.
then he got the U.S. title back for like a week. I don't know what the point of that was, and they dropped it right away back to Jeff Hardy.
Because he didn't even have
Yeah.
it, going into Saudi or anything.
Nope, absolutely not. Jinder's little fantasy tour is over.
This is a feud.
Is
But
it?
I mean, like, they're kind of pushing the mixed match challenge, and I think, isn't it, or I forget, it's Braun and Ember Moon that are
Yes,
partners,
because
right?
because Alexa is still hurt, which we'll get into in a little bit too.
So I believe that Balor and Bayley are going to be wrestling them, which will be a
Yes,
good
tonight.
matchup. And so this is WWE, obviously building them up as a team.
Right.
I don't know. It's just sometimes WWE gets like too much stuff on their plate, and then they're trying to push for everything at once.
That's what happens when you have to fill a 3-hour show.
And case in point, when they were literally advertising for Australia, Saudi Arabia,
Evolution, SmackDown 1000.
mixed match challenge, like they just
Survivor
They
Series.
just put like way too much.
They
stuff
just
on their
started.
plate,
They
and
just started Royal Rumble advertising. It's ridiculous.
It's gonna be in Arizona, by the way.
It is gonna be in Arizona.
Which kind of begs the question. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a crowd. Like they
Yeah.
kind of past couple of years, I've kind of questioned like their spots that they've put it in. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it when it's in a hot crowd like Philadelphia, but like just not the smartest. Like
think the
especially when you're
Rumble-
gonna have like Roman and
The Rumble is an event that's over with the majority of the crowd, though. They don't need to go to a wrestling city necessarily for a Royal Rumble. I think people will travel for that kind of thing.
But like the WWE obviously has like these things like planned out for like the
Right.
longest time, and then it's like, all right, we'll go that, and it's like, ooh, it's probably not the smartest idea to have like this idea go down in this city because
True.
they're gonna let us know about
Yeah.
it. But
We'll see how that goes. We had 2 quick backstage segments. First, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman in the locker room. And it was a lot. Dolph Ziggler was trying to call the shots like, hey, guys, we can't lose tonight. We have a rematch. Let's actually get this. And Strowman stood up, and he was like, hey, I'm sick of you trying to call the shots. You're the one that actually lost the other in Australia. You need to do better. We don't have room for losers. Their usual shtick. And then Drew even said something like, hey, you were the one that lost, so try to step it up tonight. Still teasing. This was good because they focused on these 3 instead of the Shield tonight, which helped the main event angle a lot. Yeah. And then after that, we had Heath Slater asking Baron Corbin if he could be in the Global Battle Royal. And Baron Corbin looked him in the eye and said, no, because you're not good enough.
Hey, he's right.
It was random, but it was a really good seed to plant because, okay, so I want to talk about this. So, this was the highlight of the show, hands down. Global Battle Royal. This was you win and you're into the World Cup tournament that they're doing for Jeddah, or for Saudi Arabia, whatever, for Crown Jewel.
Riyadh.
That's right, yep. And so you win this Battle Royal, you get in. 10-person Battle Royal. And Corbin comes out, and he enters himself in because he wants to prove that he belongs in the tournament. And he threw in the most stereotypical wrestlers from different countries. They had the Belgian Waffler. They had the Conquistador. They had another lucha guy who had like a sombrero and a mask. From Mexico. They had, they had a Russian dude.
Yeah.
they had a guy from Poland. They had a guy with a.
They had a guy from Luxembourg.
Yeah.
And he literally had a sash that just said Luxembourg.
Then they had a guy from Chile. The guy, and I only remember that because I was pulling for the guy from Chile.
Oh, okay.
I was like, come on, guy from Chile.
But they were all nobodies, really.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that the Conquistador was just in a full gold bodysuit. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I got played because I saw that and I was like, it's Heath Slater. I was like, okay, Heath Slater's just in there now. He's gonna win. And I got played. I got played hard. So the Conquistador leaves the ring. And he's just chilling on the outside. So then Corbin eliminates all the other jobbers, essentially. And Corbin's acting like he won. He's celebrating because he won the Battle Royal. And then no one's rung the bell. So then the Conquistador, or he realizes that he hasn't been eliminated. The Conquistador comes back in the ring, and he starts hitting German suplexes. And at that point, I was like, is that Kurt? I was like, no, that's not Kurt. And then I looked more at it. You could tell like his gut and his neck and everything. I was like, oh my God, that's Kurt Angle. And then of course he does his 3 suplexes and then he does the Olympic slam. I was like, oh my God, that's Kurt Angle. And I was actually freaking out because it was an awesome spot. And then he eliminates Corbin. Conquistador wins. And then he pulls off the mask and it's Kurt Angle. It was such a good segment. It was really fun. And because I love Corbin, we've talked about this. I really like Corbin in this role, so he was really fun. And then out of nowhere, just Kurt Angle coming back. I thought this was great.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's just nice to see Kurt Angle back. Honestly, for actually a second, the guy in the gold suit, I actually thought that was Brock Lesnar because German suplexes.
Someone else was saying that too. That, like you hit the suplex and you automatically go Lesnar.
And then I forgot he's in the title match against Strowman and Reigns, so it couldn't be him. And second thought, oh my God, it's Kurt Angle. I forgot he was off for a month and a half. And
he's on vacation.
Yeah, quote unquote.
As he clarified later.
Yeah, I think which he's actually just working out.
Did you see his wife? His wife tweeted out, and I'm sure this was planned, but she tweeted out, "You said you were just going out to get milk." I thought that was perfect too.
Oh my God. That's just great.
Yeah.
This is good.
This was just all good booking. Because, then afterwards he had an interview, and she was like, oh, what made you return? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm still on vacation, and then just left.
And this just plants the seeds for that Survivor Series rumor, too.
Yep.
About Team Angle versus Team Corbin.
It plants the seeds for that.
Guys, yeah.
And you know,
That's
now
all it
the
does.
first two competitors announced for the tournament are John Cena, who doesn't have to earn anything because he's John Cena, and he's got great hair. And ask JBL.
I just want to say that John Cena's hair is god awful right now.
It's not
but
good.
no, it's not good. But he entered the cup automatically
Yeah.
because he is
Under the Raw
the
brand.
GOAT.
He is listed under the Raw brand, even though he's a free agent. But yeah, it's him and Kurt Angle.
I liked it. It was a very fun segment. I don't know why, but Corey Graves can make pointless segments like these just hilarious to listen to. Like Corbin, he points out that Corbin like read his name off too, like off the sheet of paper, and you just hear. I'm pretty sure it was Graves. Might have been Michael Cole. Did Corbin just actually read his name off of that piece of paper? And then when Graves is cheering for Corbin, Renee Young just goes, "You're the only one in the building that's actually cheering for Corbin."
This was great. And they actually had some weird continuity things, too. Like, they mentioned that the guy from Luxembourg had beaten JBL at a house show or something. So maybe that was an actual thing. The Conquistador is actually a reoccurring character on WWE TV. He was the character itself was involved in a...
Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch storyline too.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, that one. And then way back in the early 2000s with the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian. And they all played the Conquistador at one point. So they brought that up too. They were like, maybe it's Matt and Jeff, or Matt or Jeff. Maybe it's Edge or Christian.
Could you imagine though, just off of Tyler's point, or maybe it was your point? Oh my God, that's Brock Lesnar. Could you imagine they bring back Brock Lesnar and just they're going, all right, Brock, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring you back for the for the World Cup. You're gonna dress up as a conquistador and you're gonna go in these battle, which I would like to point out would be fun to watch Brock Lesnar go to town on a bunch of jobbers.
I would love that. But
It was silly, man. It was silly, and just I had fun with it.
I loved it. Really great segment. Highlight of the show for me. Next, we had Ember Moon in a, quote, friendly competition against Nia Jax because they're female and they're still friends, but they want to have a wrestling match. God.
We know that's not going to last.
Frustrates me. No, someone's going to turn. Yeah. Ember won via countout. She dodged Nia's, I think, spear attempt into the apron, and Nia went head first into the apron, and then Ember beat the count at 10. And then Nia went in the ring and hugged Ember at the end. Not much of a, no.
I was actually more concerned about Nia's shoulder more than anything.
Yes.
It looked like she hit hard. She was motioning towards.
Isn't that what she was out for? I guess kayfabe.
I think so. Maybe rest. I don't know. I'm not
know.
entirely sure, but I was actually more concerned about her shoulder than anything
Yeah,
else.
me too.
But yeah, nothing really special.
Especially with Evolution coming up. Cal, anything on this?
It was a match. I mean, it was.
Well put.
I didn't watch it, so I mean, it works.
Nothing.
I mean, it's gonna go towards the
Ember's
storyline.
impressive. I will say that. Ember's very
who
impressive.
Turns? That's gonna be the question. Ember hasn't turned yet. Hasn't done a whole lot as a face.
I wouldn't mind Ember, but I think it's gonna be Nia. They've turned. She's Big Show at this point. She turns every other week. Yeah. I don't know. Trish Stratus in-ring Trish Stratus. That one's hard to say. In-ring segment next, and she cut a very not great promo. This was bad. She was very stiff on her delivery, and it wasn't a good, very well written promo either. But she cut a promo on Alexa. Alexa eventually came out with Mickie James, and they went back and forth. Thank God Alexa came out because she's really good on the mic. Eventually, Alexa went to the ring with Mickie. Mickie broke up the fight and was like, hey, we shouldn't do this tonight, blah, blah, blah. And then Mickie was like, well, cause Trish said, you're going to get a Hall of Fame beatdown. And Mickie was like, well, I don't know what that's like, so maybe I should too. And it was weird. So then she was like, why don't we have a tag team match at Evolution? And Trish was like, well, that's perfect because I just happen to have a tag team partner. And Lita comes out. It was so weird. It was not good. I'm not excited because I wanted singles matches. But this just proves that Alexa's injury is worse than they thought.
Yeah.
Because now she has to be in a tag match, and Mickey's going to probably do most of the work. But all in all, this segment was fine. It turned the wheels for Evolution, announced the tag team match, and we got a tease of a Lita moonsault, which we're going to see, and God, I hope no one hurts themselves. This is going to be a sloppy match. Lita's not. I don't know if you guys saw the Women's Royal Rumble, but Lita was not good in that. She was very sloppy. Alexa, if she's the best wrestler in here, like currently, and she's not going to be working most of the match. We don't know how Trish is in the ring right now.
I thought she looked good at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see. I'm not excited for Lita. Lita has not looked good in her last couple outings. But yeah, what did you guys think of this?
This makes sense from a storyline standpoint because Trish Stratus and Lita have a very long history with one another.
Do they?
Best friends, rivals. Oh yeah, you didn't watch wrestling. Yeah. Actually, back.
I kind of know.
Back in the early 2000s, they were like a tag team. They're like best friends with one another. Then
Okay.
They feuded after that, teamed again. They're like an on and off thing, but their chemistry is fantastic.
Okay.
Or it was fantastic. So
That's good.
And they're just great in the ring together. And
Mickey and Trish had a lot too, didn't they?
yeah. So this was like 12 years ago. Yeah, so Mickey was Trish Stratus's like best number one fan, biggest fan. So Mickey James was like obsessed with Trish Stratus, and it was all a plot for Mickey James to get the women's title from Trish Stratus at WrestleMania.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, Mickey James portrayed a crazy psychopathic girl so well.
I want to watch that feud now.
It was really good.
That sounds really good.
But it just makes all the sense in the world to me.
Oh,
for
yeah.
this tag team match to happen.
And also too, it was kind of Mickey was also a little bit crazy for Trish at one point, since this is early 2000s too.
Yeah.
KO. There was like a Christmas party, and like Trish and Mickey James like planted a kiss underneath the mistletoe. And so, which leads, if you ever go to watch the WrestleMania match of Trish and Mickey does some stuff in it that wasn't really looked upon that greatly backstage, but also they have a lot of chemistry together. So I'm looking forward to that, and I look forward. I mean, Lita will have her spots. Hopefully she's all right. And I mean, just Mickey James is a veteran in the ring. And, like, is still, like, good enough as a wrestler where I feel like she can, like, go in and call the shots. So I like the tag team better than two singles.
Yeah, I mean, I was more looking forward to just Trish versus Alexa, but I guess now that she's hurt, kind of have to. But, yeah, I mean, from a storyline stance, this does work a lot. Next, we had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable against the Ascension. Oh, I don't like this. The storyline's so out of place. Okay, if they would have told the story from the singles match between Chad and Victor, this would have worked, because it would have been Chad beat Victor, but then Chad Gable couldn't beat Connor, and then Connor cheated to beat Bobby Roode. So it's like, we couldn't beat them alone. Let's beat them together as a tag team. But 2 weeks before those singles matches, there were 2 tag team matches where Bobby and Chad won both of them. So they're telling, it's bad. But again tonight, or last night on Raw, we had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable defeat the Ascension. Stupid.
Yeah.
However, after the match,
This is when it got good.
This is when it got good, and still makes me hopeful for the tag team division, because we had the Authors of Pain come in and destroy AOP. You're right. I'm sorry.
It's no longer Authors of Pain, KO. I'm just kidding.
I know it's so stupid. The AOP came in and destroyed all 4 of them, because they ended with hitting a super collider on Victor and Chad. This was awesome. I love the AOP.
Yeah.
They're so good. And I actually didn't see Drake Maverick. Was he cosplaying again, or did he have his leather jacket?
He had a leather jacket, but no vest.
Okay.
No
But
vest.
no.
He just had a
Good.
jacket.
Yeah, good.
Which is fine.
Which is perfect.
Yes.
He looked like a manager. He doesn't need to look like a miniature version of the AOP. So that's good. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in the AOP going forward.
Yeah. Cal, what do you think?
I like it. It's a storyline, just putting the AOP in it. They need to be the ones that win after this, or whatever it leads to. And I mean, push the Authors of Pain. It's not that hard to figure out.
It really shouldn't be. Vince likes big guys. You would think they would have gotten this push. Although this goes all the way back to the Money in the Bank and there was a planned tag team match, and then they scrapped it, so then they had to scrap a lot of plans. But still, like, you would think that Vince would have jumped on these guys right away.
I think this is because he had faith that Akam and Razor would make it on their own, and they really can't.
Yeah, no, they couldn't.
So that's why I think
I was hoping they would just bring back
yeah.
what's his face,
Paul Ellering.
Paul Ellering, yeah.
So I think that's why they got rid of him right away.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
that's
absolutely. They want,
because Vince wanted to go on their own, but then they really can't.
No.
Their mic skills are bad, but they brought Drake Maverick in. He's younger too.
True.
And he's awesome on the mic. So
he is.
This really propels AOP to the next level, and I'm quite hopeful for him.
Yeah.
I think Ellering though is the reason. I had saw rumors that he wasn't gonna do the WWE travel.
Those were rumors. Those were disbanded. I saw that too. Yeah. That didn't have anything to do with it, but I don't know. Yeah. The actual rumored reason was that, I mean, Vince just wasn't high on managers in general. Yeah. Like, he really only liked Heyman with Lesnar. That was about it. But now apparently he likes Leo and Drake Maverick. I don't know. It's weird, but like I said, I really enjoy AOP. They're going to be good, and I think they'll run the tag team division for a while.
Yeah, and all three of those teams or athletes you mentioned, they all need managers to speak for them.
Right.
They can't talk on the mic.
Exactly.
So that's exactly why they're doing it.
Yep, and it works perfectly.
Absolutely.
Next, we had Heyman come out to cut a promo, basically on the triple threat for Crown Jewel, saying that Brock Lesnar is at home in his own bed, eating home-cooked meals, running to his homemade gym at home, doing nothing, and while Roman and Strowman are wrestling night in, night out, twice on Sundays. So he's just saying Lesnar's going to be fully rested when it comes to Saudi, and you guys are just beating the crap out of each other week in and week out. So Brock's going to have the advantage. And then Heyman's great because the Shield music hit, and he looked backwards. He's like, "Oh God, where are they? I'm gonna get beaten up." And then he runs when he sees they're in the crowd. That was really good. But yeah, keeps the wheels turning for Crown Jewel. That's all it is.
Pretty much.
So then, yes, the main event, we had another rematch of Crown Jewel. We had Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre against the Shield. And good match.
Very good match.
Very good match. Yeah, like really good match. But I shouldn't say but. So in the middle of the match, they teased Strowman turning on Ziggler because Ziggler was barking orders at Strowman again, but Strowman was also barking orders. And then Ziggler said something to Strowman. Strowman grabbed him by the neck. And then this spot was great. McIntyre spun Strowman away from Ziggler, and they had a stare down for a good 10, 15 seconds. And I was like, yes, I need to see this match, please. Like, face McIntyre and heel Strowman. Oh, what a good match that would be. We'll probably get it eventually. But, then the Shield broke that up. Eventually, what happened, I believe Dean tagged himself in, and it was Dean and Dolph, but then Dolph tagged in Drew eventually. Bunch of suicide dives, the usual Shield, smoke and mirrors to end the match, and McIntyre hit a Claymore on Ambrose for the win. And this is where the interesting part happened because the Dogs of War, they left, and Ambrose also, instead of staying in the ring and, with his Shield buddies, he also just kind of left. And Roman and Seth were stuck in the ring, kind of just looking at him like, what's going on here? It was interesting. I don't know. On my feed, I don't know, because I watched the second half of the show on Hulu, so it was cut down and edited. There was no commentary towards the end of this show. Was there for you guys?
I don't think so.
Because literally, like, after the match, I didn't hear much, especially when the whole Dean thing was happening. There was no commentary at all. So I don't know what to do. Like, obviously, I think next week they're going to turn this into, no, I was just upset that I lost, so I wanted to leave. Like, I don't think that's not the turn.
No, it's not.
The turn, I guarantee you, either whether it's Roman or Dean, it's most likely going to be Dean. The turn is going to be a chair shot to the back.
It's going to be something very unexpected.
I'm fairly positive it's going to be a chair shot to the back.
Yeah, something like that.
It's got to be. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. So, like, the match was good, and I like the angle going forward, but it was just, I don't know, it was a weird ending. Oh, what did you guys think?
I mean, I like the ending. It kind of makes sense because it kind of gives a perspective that Dean Ambrose, maybe he is the weak link out of the entire group.
But he won on Saturday.
Right. That is true. That is true. But then he took the pinfall.
Right.
And sometimes in this industry, losses are more important than wins.
Sometimes.
Keyword, I said sometimes. But
when they want it to be.
right. And then, so yeah, Dean Ambrose. But this goes back to the point that he's the only one not holding the gold in that group.
Yes.
So maybe it's jealousy. Maybe from a storyline perspective, it is jealousy. Maybe he's a weak link. He doesn't have full trust in his teammates. His teammates don't have trust in him. A lot of questions swirling around. The turn's not going to happen yet. You mentioned it. It's going to happen more unexpectedly. I wouldn't be
surprised.
Something devastating would happen.
Wouldn't be surprised if it was Survivor Series during the minute.
It would be
during the
somewhere
Survivor
around
Series
that time.
match.
Yeah, it would not surprise me. But this is just all teasing for what's going to eventually happen. We all know it will.
I thought it was going to be during the match when Rollins was crawling to the corner and Ambrose was there because flashback, I believe it was back in SmackDown before Rollins had officially turned on the Shield. I don't know if it was when when the Shield was still heels or when they were faces, but Rollins jumped off like the ramp when I think it was Dean was crawling towards him and walked out on the Shield, and it would have been good.
I don't remember that at all.
Foreshadowing of if Ambrose, I'll show you guys in a bit. Of like Ambrose like doing that, and then
that would have been interesting.
And I thought it was gonna be, but it's just kind of like it builds because with Ambrose walking out, it reminds me of Seth when he walked out, and then obviously Seth was the one that turned. So I still think it's gonna be Dean, but overall, I thought this was a great match.
Yep.
A great main event to end Raw.
Yeah. 50-50 booking at its best. One team won. Now the other team won. Now they have to face off again.
Yep.
Overall, what did you guys think of the show?
Oh, I said it. I think it's one of the better episodes. Let's also.
I felt last week was better.
Really?
In my opinion.
Okay. I think this week's was better. Just because of the surprises, kind of like the heel turns and like all the
last week's surprises to end the show
and
was
all the big names too involved and all these storylines too right now are kind of refreshed. Some of them are.
Yes.
A lot of them are refreshments, so that's always good to see.
Except Bobby and the Ascension. Yeah. Bobby and Chad.
And I'd also, sorry, Cal, let's give an honorable mention to Elias.
Yeah.
For calling out the Cubs, not going to the World Series.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Television,
that didn't lead to anything.
Getting major jeers from the Chicago crowd. That was absolutely brilliant. And they had Ronda Rousey come out to
it
cut
sounded like Chicago wanted to rival Seattle there for a second. Because they were booing pretty hard.
Oh, they were going to go on a 7-minute tirade.
I think they were, but then Rhonda came out,
and that's why they had her come out to cut it.
I think so. They should have just let it. They should have just let it go.
It's smart though.
I know it's smart. It did give Rhonda a bigger reaction too.
Yeah,
but
you can't
let
chaos ensue. But when I was watching that, literally in my bed, I just raised my fist so hard in the air to thank you so much, Elias, for saying that. He said that, what was it like? Like, he said that Australian food is a disease, but not as bad as the Cubs missing out on the World Series.
Yep, something like that.
It's fantastic.
It's great. I love it.
Cal, any thoughts on that?
I've never, I just love those moments where, as a Cubs fan, where you have to, just get burned so good, but then you just, have to smile and, just shake your head, and I was like, you don't know what, that was good. And it was also added it because I was watching it with my dad, who's a Brewers fan, and he laughed a good 3-4 times. So I mean, it was a good burn. And I'm sure when Elias goes to Green Bay, I mean, he already ripped when he went to Milwaukee. He did a good one on the Bucks.
I'm sure, yeah.
But I think his heel heat's getting better.
Oh, absolutely.
Because before it would just be oh, your team's your team's not good. But, now he's, actually, kind of throwing, some knives in there with, talking about the Dallas Cowboys not being relevant. He's actually, being okay, this is why I think your team sucks. And is getting better heel heat at it.
Yeah.
Because, you can just go, any generic heel can just go out and be oh, the Cubs suck and get, some boos. But, when you go, that deep into it, you get such a better reaction to it.
Yeah. I think he said, what was it? That Bobby Lashley never wins anything.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
They never win anything big. and the Seattle basketball team. Doesn't make much sense. Just doesn't make much sense, KO.
It was so great. Yeah, so that's all the time we have. Thanks for listening. Listen, same time tomorrow, SmackDown review. And, yeah, we'll see you then.